this is Kate from Generate Magic, and one reason that I keep coming back to Psycho-Cybernetics is because it really takes a lot of the same concepts that Neville and teachers like him cover, but it really explains it in this very clear, direct language, which as much as I love flowery, poetic language, sometimes I feel like it's necessary just to kind of have that extra component and to give me that extra element of trust, and also to kind of help to keep myself from kind of falling into overthinking, which sometimes I tend to do, or overanalysis. And he just keeps things very clean and simple. And so one of the fundamental concepts of this work is the idea that you imagine something, right, and then it basically kind of, once you have it pictured vividly and clearly enough, it basically sets what he calls the automatic mechanism into practice, right? And it's kind of like the domino effect, where all of the what Neville or teachers like him would call the bridge of incidents, right? All of it just kind of unfolds very naturally. And so again, you can see, right, how it's all very similar concepts, right? You could also call what Psycho-Cybernetics is saying, it's the imagination or the goal. You could call that, your wish fulfilled. And but it's all kind of talking about the same thing, right? And one thing that he talks about in Psycho-Cybernetics is, he says, just because he's using the word imagination, we tend to associate that word, right, with poets and artists. But he says we can see this in every aspect of life, right? And he uses lots of examples of successful businessmen, and how Disney is like a key example, and specifically like the theme parks, right? Like Disney World is kind of, just a key example of the imagination at work, and just all the links that they go to with all the details, and just all the sensory details that they put into all these experiences. And he says, even if you're not necessarily noticing, every single element, it all kind of goes into the final picture. Just like if you make a movie, right, you might not necessarily notice every single thing about the composition or the lighting or any of that, but it's all kind of merging together to make this final product. But I also want to point out that yes, absolutely, imagination is very fundamental to every aspect of our life, and especially in business. But I also want to say, and to all the writers and artists out there, that, as you know, imagination definitely isn't for sissies. And or art, creating works of art is not for sissies. And because first, right, you do imagine it, you do come up with the idea, but then you still have to execute the idea. And in any endeavor, right, what kind of keeps you going and what keeps this process as smooth as possible is really kind of being in that flow state, right? And I kind of see it like as a dance, where you have that higher vision, you have that higher ideal that is guiding you, but at the same time, you're listening to it and you're taking this inspired action from that place. And yes, I see it very much as a dance. And once you establish the rhythm, then you'll be able to tell when you're you're trying to kind of force things along, you're acting out of desperation, versus when you're in that flow state. And some of the greatest moments that I've had are when I'm writing a story and I'm really just like immersed in the world, and and after writing the story, I'll read it, and a lot of the scenes, like, I won't even remember having written, because I was just really just immersed, like, in that flow state where I was being guided by that larger vision. And so that's one of the wonderful potentials that art really has, right? And I think all too often, right, people can kind of reduce it into this very black and white thing. They can either just talk about waiting for inspiration and waiting for the muse, and versus, oh, you have to be disciplined, you have to sit down every day and write, or you have to sit down every day and create your art, and really it's neither, right? Or it's both in a way, right? But neither of these things really kind of get to the core of what it's really about. And so what it's really about is having that vivid image in your mind, right? And having that clear end goal and feeling very aligned with it, and then allowing that vision to guide you as you carry it out. And this is true for creating art, for creating books, for creating movies, and for carrying out things in your business and in your life as well. And so yeah, just kind of, and yeah, I love the way in Psycho-Cybernetics they just put it very simply, right? Like it's just kind of your imagination, you know, combined with this automatic mechanism, which again you might also call your instinct or your subconscious carrying out this product, and that is the recipe for success. So with that, thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.